So now we've got the most important and main features out the way, let's have a look at some other useful things we can do. Starting with having a look at your macronutrient percentages. So this is your carbs, your proteins, and your fats. So again, the calories remaining bar at the top, we're going to use that. So we're going to click on that. And again, it obviously brings us into this menu here where we've got breakfast, lunch, and we can see what we've eaten throughout the day. And again, this is quite useful just to use as a reference anyway. But if we click the calories remaining bar again on this page, it will now bring us up this page. As you can see, this is your nutritional breakdown. So starting from the left to right, we're on the macros one here, which is the bit we're most interested in, but we'll go from the left to right. So clicking on calories, it will tell you your calories across your meals. So how many calories you've had sort of in regards to your meals that day. I've only got 2 meals in, so obviously it's almost a 50-50 split, but depending on how many calories I had for breakfast, how many calories I had for lunch, it will show to you, you know, where you spent most heavily that day on this pie chart. If we click on nutrients, it will tell you exactly what's been in your food as well. So this is quite interesting if you want to get a bit nerdy with it all. So it will tell you your basic macronutrients, your proteins and your carbs, as you can see at the top there, fats a bit further down. Then it's also got other things like sort of the micronutrients and bits and bobs we might be interested in, such as fibre, how much sugar I've consumed, saturated fat, polyunsaturated, monounsaturated, cholesterol, sodium, potassium, all these micronutrients, these vitamins and minerals as well. So again, quite an interesting thing to look at, again, if you are looking at being a bit more nerdy with it, let's say, but very interesting nonetheless. And the final one, the one that is quite interesting that we want to focus on maybe a little bit more, is our macros. And this is our macro pie chart. So it breaks down what I've eaten in regards to carbs, fats and proteins across everything I've eaten that day. So obviously I've only got my breakfast and my lunch in, and we're a bit high on the fat front, let's say, if we're going for our balanced set of percentages for our macronutrients. But as you can see, I've got 29% protein, 29% carbs, and currently 42% fat. So again, that's quite useful in regards to having a look at how we're breaking down and seeing what is in our food. As you can see, it will also give you a small breakdown of how many grams it is you've consumed of each one as well, and where you are in regards to your total. But just bear in mind, this obviously changes every time you put food into it. So every time you put food into it, it's going to change this macro pie chart as well. But by the end of the day, once you've had all your you've inputted all your food for the day, you can come on here and you can see how you've done in regards to balancing of your macros. Or earlier in the day, you can have a look at this and think, well, like I am now, thinking, oh, I'm a bit higher on the fats, so maybe I need to make sure my next food item has got less fat in it, or maybe it needs more protein, or maybe I can have a few more carbs if I want to. Yeah, this is the kind of flexibility that it gives you, and you can use this as that kind of resource information tool. So that's the first other useful bit. So another useful tool, whilst we're still on this page here, is being able to change it from a day view to a week view to a different type of graph. So if you're into your graphs and bits and bobs and pie charts, this is the page for you. But as you can see, I'm on the macros tab here on this page, and below that is the day view. So we want it on day view at the minute, and I'm currently on Wednesday, January 27th, for whatever reason. But say if I click on that button, I can change the day view, week view, or I can change the date to whatever I need to be. But this is the day view for my macros. If I go on the week view, as you can see, it will show me everything that I've inputted for the last 7 days. And it'll give me a breakdown of my carbs, my fats, and my proteins across them. So as you can see, I was averaging 43% carbs that week, 37% fat, and 20% protein. Now, obviously, I've got the goals that I had previously set at that kind of point, or that were, sort of manually set already at that point. So I can look at that and think, right, okay, so across that week, I'm down on my protein. I probably need to increase my protein. I'm up on my carbs, so I need to reduce my carbs. So this is the kind of information you can get from these tabs. You can have a look across a longer period of time, like I say, a week period of time, and see where the discrepancies are, where the improvements that you need to make can be. So that's on the macros. Again, they can do the same thing for your calories. So as you can see here, my goal has been 2,500, and my net average across those 7 days is 2,241. And so in here you can see kind of how many calories you've been and how consistent you've been. If you have a day that goes above that line, or too many days going above that line, you can look back over your previous week and think, if you're wondering why am I not getting results or what's gone wrong, and maybe you've let your tracking go a bit awry, or you've not thought you've had too many like calorie surplus days where you've gone over that goal target, you look on here and think, look, I've got 3 days there, maybe go to the week previous, I've got another couple of days there, and all of a sudden you can start to see potentially where you've been going wrong. So again, another really useful tool, just a bit more sort of graphical data for you across these tabs. The nutrients, it will tell you again, you can do this, but it doesn't tell you in the same sort of graphical type of way. But again, it will tell you what you've had roughly across the week in regards to these things on average. But the calories and the macros, again, kind of useful tabs that you can use there to see and potentially point out places where there are little room for improvement, or places where we might need to make some changes. Okay, so final little useful asset on the app that we can use is looking down at the bottom here. Again, we've got the taskbar. So go back to that more button with the 3 little circles, click on that. Again, as we can see down the list of all the options here, keep scrolling down, and below blog, community, we have friends. So click on friends. Here we can add anyone else who's also tracking, so we can keep an eye on them, maybe see what they're eating, get some inspiration from it, see how they're getting on. So let's use Ange at the top here on mine. We click on her. As long as her profile is set to public, we can click on the door button at the top here, so you can see you've got the man icon, the trophy, the door, and the little message mail icon. Click on the door, and the door will bring up what she's eating for the day. Now, she's not put anything in yet because it's still relatively early doors. Maybe she's not out of bed yet. But if we click on yesterday, there we go, we can see what Ange's been up to and what Ange's been eating. So here, it might give you some ideas of things and meals for yourself, or just generally give you motivation to see that your friends are also tracking and how they're getting on. So if there's a little crew of you, maybe you all want to join up on MyFitnessPal, you can then kind of encourage each other, message each other on here, say, well, what have you had for lunch, what have you had for dinner, and kind of motivate each other to stay on track using the Friends tab. So again, we'll head back just one more time. This is accessed through the sort of more button, options menu, down to Friends. And like I say, you can click on the plus button in the top right corner, and you can pick contacts from anywhere. And you can go onto Facebook even as well if you want to connect it up through there. But you can go on email or MyFitnessPal username at the bottom, type in that, and you can type in their username if they've given it to you, and then you'll find them, add them. And yeah, that's the last sort of useful feature. Again, there is other things that are available on here, but they're the main ones. So enjoy.